Hey everybody, terribly sorry if anybody came on earlier on, only to find that the live went down. So technical issues. I am not the tech guy. That's for damn sure. After those recent developments, one of the things I wanted to talk about, if you missed the earlier attempt to try and do that, one of the things I wanted to talk about right now is a update that the government have presented out today, the 15th of April, in relation to the job retention scheme. So just to be clear, at the moment, we're coming in live on Facebook. So hello, everybody that is on Facebook. Equally, we're going to be recording this, and equally, if you are following us on YouTube or on podcast of your choice, of wherever you get your podcast from, you can also download this through the podcast later on to listen to if you so wished. So right now, I just want to make sure that we're sharing the correct screen for everybody to be able to see. But we're going to go through a really quick presentation around what these changes are and what they mean to everybody. So these are going to be quite significant changes. Hopefully everyone can see the slides on the Facebook Live. I apologize if you cannot. But obviously we will be putting up the link to the video later on anyway, where you'll be able to get that video in any case for yourselves. So like I said, huge development in terms of the job retention scheme has happened today, and that development is absolutely going to impact on a large proportion of people that originally fell through the gap of the job retention scheme. So if you remember, when this came out initially, there was a huge swathe of people and voices saying, hang on, I've taken on a new job after the 28th of April. Through no fault of my own, I'm now going to fall through this gap where I can no longer claim the 80% of my salary. And equally, you had a huge swathe of employers out there going, hey, hold on 1 minute. I've just started to recruit people in March who have started and through no fault of their own now aren't entitled to the same scheme as everybody else who was in there before. So what is it that the government have changed? Let's try and make this really quick and simple, and hopefully we'll get this to change. So again, hopefully you're able to see the slides. There's only a few slides that run here, but again, we will put this up as an update on a video anyway for everybody to come and see. But previously, you would have remembered that one of the criteria for somebody to obviously qualify for the scheme, the job retention scheme. Now that job retention scheme, let's just go through that again quickly. The job retention scheme is the ability for you as an employer to be able to follow your staff where they will not do any work whatsoever for you, and in return they will be able to capitalize on 80% of their salary, and that will be calculated depending on whether they're on regular payments or irregular payments based on the same month last year or the average of their earnings over the 19-20 tax year, and they will get the 80% of that salary worked out over the course of that month, and you as an employer will be able to reclaim that back up to a maximum of £2,500. And of course, inclusive on top of that would be obviously the employer's national insurance contributions and also the minimum level of the employer's pensions contributions for those individuals. Now, everybody originally had to have been working with an employer on or before the 28th of February. If you were not working on or before the 28th of February, you did not qualify. Full stop. Done, finito, didn't happen for you. And the best thing you could hope for is through the universal credits and to go through those particular mechanisms, or if your employer would continue to make a form of payment towards you to help you through that particular time. But potentially what would happen is you would have been laid off, or you would have laid off your staff, or if you'd listened a lot to Martin Lewis, a swathe of previous employers potentially may have taken all of their ex-employees back on again to enable them to be able to be furloughed, which was a possibility. However, you know, we live in the real world here. You know, we've got to be honest. Not many previous employers would be looking to do that. And also what happens legitimately to the employment rights that you now have with a new employer, considering you've already left one, P45s have been, you know, taken up and all the rest of those bits and pieces, the logistics of it are a nightmare, and arguably it just wouldn't happen. So now one of the key things that has changed is the government have moved that qualifying date for the staff. This is for the staff, not for you as an employer as to when you registered your payroll system. This is for your staff. So if you had somebody who started with you on or before the 19th of March now, the 19th of March, then they will qualify under this scheme. So, key question, what does that now mean for you? So let's go through some of the kind of scenarios that could have come up here. So one is live with a client I have at the moment in time. Before that criteria came out, they were furloughed. The criteria came out that said that actually you couldn't furlough someone and claim under the scheme if they weren't employed on or before the 20th of February. They've now subsequently been laid off. Now what's going to happen is they have the ability to take that person from being laid off in March to being able to be furloughed again. So they go back to where they were originally. We've worked our way all around that cycle, and now here we are magically at the end, and that person will be able now to be furloughed and be able to be eligible for 80% of their salary, and that's a fantastic thing for them. So we can go back and change that parameter for them. So if you have people that have started in your business, or you have clients where people have started with them on or before the 19th of March now, and they've gone through being laid off, or perhaps even they were made redundant because of the coronavirus and the issues around the job retention scheme, they can bring those people back, and you can change people who are laid off to being furloughed, and they will be eligible through this scheme. Now, this is really important because not only does this change things for a huge swathe of people, you've got to bear in mind, when is the period of time when we're going to be able to be starting, when we're going to get my teeth in, when is that period of time when we're going to be able to start putting this onto a portal with HMRC and claiming this money back through the job retention scheme? Monday, the 20th of April is when businesses, your payroll provider will be able to go onto HMRC and will be able to start being able to qualify and put in the details for their staff, or uploading spreadsheets if you've got more than 100 employees with you, whereby you can start to claim back through the job retention scheme. The key thing about this is now, before you start doing that, you can correct all of these issues for those staff that would now qualify thanks to the extension of that date to the 19th of March. So there's a lot of work for people to do now to go back and make sure that those people that were made redundant are brought back, potentially. Those people that were laid off are actually now on furloughed, and they're also now qualifying. If you've got people that are on a weekly payroll, you need to go back into your previous weeks and make sure now these people are qualify, that you are able to register that they qualify for payments when they didn't do before, and you can now start making those payments for them. If you laid people off, and obviously you've paid people through the guaranteed payment, the guaranteed salary through the layoff process, then obviously you want to then put that against what you will now pay them for the 80% of salary, and you'll be able to reclaim that back through the job retention scheme. This is a very, very core and key development because it's going to impact, the government predicted this is going to impact on about 200,000 plus employees at the moment in time that previously would have fallen through the gaps. It could, I think, potentially impact on more when you count those that may have been dismissed because obviously they would have been redundant because the coronavirus system, and obviously to enable people to go and do different things, to be able to claim through the universal credits. That's one of the things they would have looked to have done, or they would have laid people off. I think it's going to maybe escalate upwards, northwards of those kind of figures, I think. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think obviously this means for everybody out there right now, there's a few people that are now going to be getting a correction here, and there's some work for employers to do now to make sure they're rectifying their payroll accordingly. If you've done your March payroll run, hey, everyone should have done by now, right? Then you will need to go back, reopen your payroll runs, and you will need to start making these adaptations and these changes for those staff that now would qualify under this scheme. So those people you'll be able to correct. Don't forget, I keep saying this on every video we do, every post that we make around this. Employment law doesn't change, hasn't altered, still stays the same. You now need to go back to those people who now will qualify, previously didn't, and make sure that they are signing those letters to make sure they're happy to be furloughed. Or if you actually do have the layoff clause in your contracts of employment with your staff, that you're going back and you're notifying them that actually retrospectively, back on the point when they started, or whenever that layoff actually commenced, they are now being furloughed and they are now eligible under this particular process to be able to be paid. And that's going to make a huge difference to those individuals who literally for the past few weeks were probably wondering what was going to happen to them. And like I said, I mean, so many people through no fault of their own, before any of this coronavirus stuff had actually hit anybody, were obviously in the process of giving in their notice and they're about to start a new job with a new employer. Some people have to give about 3 months notice before they start a new role. And then all of a sudden this has come along, you know, taking their legs underneath them, swept the rug from under their feet. And then they fall into this gap where they didn't previously qualify. I absolutely welcome this change. I think, you know, one thing to remember, this doesn't change the other dates that are involved around this and the other eligibility criteria. So for you as an employer, they are still saying at the moment in time, nothing has come out to alter this, that you will still would have had to have had a registered payroll system with effect on the 28th of April or before, 28th of February or before. So that doesn't change. Literally the only date here that has changed, don't make any red herrings around this, is the 19th of March so far. So obviously we'll watch this space. As we can see, there's been constant regular updates that keep coming out. This is really close to the mark at the moment in time, because obviously Monday, everybody's going to be in a rush to submit their records to HMRC through the portal to ensure that they're starting to get payments back at the end of April to help them to get through this period. But this is definitely going to help with that group of staff who would have normally would have started before the 19th of March to be able to get a salary, to be able to get something. So all the other parameters thus far stay exactly as they were. This is the only change, but it does mean that there's work out there for people doing your payroll, for employers, and people like me in HR and payroll to come around and actually make some changes for their clients. Obviously, guys, if you've got any questions around this, please feel free to contact me, to contact us, to see how we can help you and guide you through this particular process. Obviously, we are all monitoring any updates and changes as of when they actually happen, which seems to be at breakneck speed sometimes. I just welcome the fact that this has come out now, as opposed to when they normally do these updates, which seems to be around about 10 to midnight, and you wake up to them. So at least this is here now. We've got a few days now to prepare and make these changes ready for these group of people to actually be incorporated in this and actually get a salary, which is absolutely fantastic for those groups of people. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much if you've tuned in and you're watching this on the live, or you're watching it a little later on. I just want to thank you so much if you're also watching this on the YouTube video, or alternatively, if you are listening to this on our podcast. Thank you very much for those group of people. And thank you so much for all the support that we receive as well, in terms of the work that we're doing. It is it's really, really good when you're doing a lot of work that's taking up a lot of time and a lot of crazy hours, and seeing that it's actually impacting and helping people in their lives and also their businesses. I just want to remind everybody right now, quite crucially, this is a humanitarian issue right now. And we must all be there as employers, as business owners, to ensure that we're doing the best we can for our people. The people in your business, they have to come first, because without them, you have no business. It's just as simple as that. So everybody stay home, stay safe, save lives, and protect the NHS. Have a great time. I'm going to end the live here now. So give me a bit of time. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.